Vision has decided to create himself a family and allow his family to become normal, living in a suburban household. But, well, that's not going to work with synthoids, is it? This is the Comicstorian channel where we take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then we read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panel, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Today we're going to be covering issues 4, 5, and 6 of Vision right here at the Comicstorian channel. And when we last left off, Vision had no emotions, but he created a wife, a son, and a daughter and tried to put his kids into school. But his wife very quickly got into a fight with a villain and then was worried about killing him, but she just buried him in the backyard. Today we're going to be going further down the rabbit hole that is the Vision family. It is later that Virginia looks out the kitchen window. She watches Vision playing catch with her children, laughter filling the air as they both leap into the air to fly and catch the ball. For a moment, Virginia feels content. They belonged here. Everything would be all right in the end. That feeling lasted 1.72 seconds. Her purse begins to buzz and ring as the cell phone that she received in the mail goes off. The phone rang every day at 2 in the afternoon. At first, she'd ignored it, but now, yes, she says as she answers it. When would you like this to take place? She asks. And the voice continues to speak, and she finally agrees, hanging up the phone, looking back out the window at her family. But that moment has passed, and now sadness fills her eyes. The next day, both teenagers return to the school, students staring at them with a mixture of confusion and fear as the synthoids walk through the front door. While they notice everyone looking at them, neither Viv nor Vin slow as they move through the halls. Later, at her locker, Viv looks up to Chris Kinski, her lab partner and the boy who Vin choked. Sorry, but you'd mind if I walk you to class? I just want to talk or whatever, Chris tells her, rubbing his neck nervously. No, I do not mind. We can talk or whatever, Viv tells him with a smile, and as they walk through the building and into the rain, Chris explains that he has no hard feelings towards Vin. He tells Viv that he enjoys being her partner, although his father doesn't want him to be hanging out with her anymore. It's just, whatever they say, I think you're cool, he tells her. And they finally stop next to the building with Chris looking up into the rainy sky. I should have brought an umbrella. Doesn't it bother you, a machine and water and all that? He asks her. No, it does not bother me. It goes right through me, she explains to him. A few days later, Virginia calls Vision while he's at work. He avoids another blow from the great monster while talking to his wife. No, wife, I'm listening. It's just that I'm also fighting Giganto, he explains to her. She reminds him that she has a meeting with the headhunter today, and she would like him to be home with the kids. You must understand, the children have not responded entirely well to their return to school, and I do not want them to be alone tonight. They need proper support, she explains to him. And Vision nods his head as he fires another blast from his forehead into the monster. Yes, I understand. I will talk to Iron Man. Perhaps Nova can be called in, he tells her. That night, Virginia flew to the address that she had been given over the phone. The meeting was set for midnight, and she lands outside of the house. She phases through the door, finding a man sitting in an easy chair. I am here, as requested, she said simply, and the man nods, lifting his shirt to reveal the pistol that he's also holstered at his side. Before we get started, I want you to know something. I was in the service overseas, and I know how to use it. I have used it, he explains to her. What anger he has suddenly disappears as he stands, explaining to her that he didn't want any of this to happen, which is why he invited her to his home. I was coming to your house that night to introduce myself because my son is partners with one of your things. I stopped at the front door, but no one answered. So I went around back and I heard you. Then I saw, so I took the video. He explains that he wasn't going to do anything until that thing attacked his boy. I had to take action, so I was making you an offer. Just go away, and I won't tell anyone what you've got buried back there. That's it. I'm just trying to be real, he tells her. Virginia nods, beginning to float into the air. Please understand that I am trying to be real. I belong here, she tells him, anger in her voice. The man pulls his pistol, aiming it at her. I'll do anything to protect my boy, you hear me? He shouts at her, but Virginia begins to float forward, and the man fires, the rounds phasing through her, and they both stop short as they hear the sounds of Chris gasping in pain. They turn. The boy must have been drawn by the sounds of the argument, and he slumps against the wall, blood already soaking through his clothes. The man rushes forward, cradling his son. And he turns back to Virginia, anger in his eyes as he begins to shout, I'm gonna kill you! After this, I'm going to get everyone and we're all going to kill you all! Virginia moves forward, punching the father in the head, dropping him to the floor instantly. Later, Chris's father lays in his hospital bed. Flowers and letters from well-wishers are scattered around the room, but the man hasn't read any of them. The doctors are unsure if he'll ever wake up. Virginia looks down at him floating over his bed, and elsewhere in the hospital, Chris's body lays on the slab as the coroner finishes his report. Due to the injuries, he rules that the young boy's death is most likely a homicide. Viv learns about her partner's death and she is shocked, sadness filling her as she rips CK's picture from the yearbook and crumples it to her chest. That night, Detective Matthew Lynn stands outside the Vision's house, flashing police lights filling the street with strobing colors as his uniformed backup awaits nearby. But Detective Lynn doesn't even have to go up to the door as Vision phases through it, stepping down into the lawn. "I saw your lights. Can I help you, officer?" the hero asks, and Lynn holds up his badge, introducing himself. "I was wondering if you wouldn't mind coming down with me to the station. I just have a few things I want to go over with you. May I ask what is the nature of this matter?" But Lynn tells him that the questions won't take more than an hour. "Officer, that is not a response to my inquiry," Vision tells him, but Lynn just nods. "Yeah, I'm aware." The two are interrupted when Virginia passes through the front door asking Vision if everything's okay, and he nods, turning to leave with Detective Lynn. "It's all right, Virginia, it will not take long," Vision tells her. Virginia returns to the dinner table, sitting down with the children, asking them about their day, but Vin and Viv look at her strangely. She has begun to skip and repeat her words. "We will continue our discussion. The kids stare in confusion for a moment, and then Virginia stands up, slamming her fist hard against the table. "Everything is normal," she yells. "What is wrong with us?" Viv yells, running to the shattered table. And at the police station, Detective Lynn asks Vision if he keeps records of all of his whereabouts and what he does and sees. "Yes," Vision states simply. Lynn nods, asking if Vision could provide those recordings to the Arlington PD. "No," Vision tells him. Lynn doesn't respond to that, instead asking Vision where he was last Tuesday. Lynn continues to question Vision, asking him about Chris Kaczynski. Vision nods, explaining that Vin had a fight with the boy in the school, but that was the last of their interactions. "He was found dead yesterday," Vision explains, and as the questions come, memories of the 37 times that Vision aided in saving the world fill his mind. Finally, Lynn turns to him, asking where his son was that night. "He was with me," Vision tells him before standing up, preparing to leave. "I presumed my conversation would only concern me. It clearly does not. As such, I am leaving." The hero makes his way to the door, but Detective Lynn stops him with one question. "Just now you said your son was with you." "With me, you said. Not with us. Last Tuesday. Was the rest of your family home? The mother, the daughter, were they there too?" he asks, and Vision pauses as he's about to leave, images of his family flashing through his mind. "Last Tuesday, yes, my family. They were all with me," he says over his shoulder, and then he walks through the door. Later, he returns home to find Virginia sitting in front of the destroyed table. "The table is broken," he notes. "I do not know how to fix it," she says through gritted teeth. He nods, putting his hand on her shoulder. "It is too late. Let us go to our bedroom and we will fix everything in the morning," he says quietly, and he turns to walk away, but she does not join him. "Take your time. I will meet you upstairs," Vision tells her. But Virginia continues to sit in the dark, staring at the destroyed table. "I do not know how to fix, she whispers. Time passes. George, of George and Nora, walks through the front door of his house. Leaning down, he pets his friendly dog, Zeke. And as he turns to yell at his wife, asking if they've gotten any packages yet, Zeke sees his chance of venturing into the world. He pauses briefly at Vision's mailbox, woofing at it gently as it hovers in front of him. But something else catches his attention, and his nose begins to work into overdrive. He moves into the backyard, allowing the fence to give him pause for only a moment while he digs underneath it. He continues to sniff, finally finding the spot that is drawing his attention, and he begins to dig, finally uncovering the body of the Grim Reaper. Zeke begins to lick at the cadaver, but as his teeth begin to nip at the weapon on the corpse's arm, a shulk jolts through his body. Inside, Vision is in the middle of telling his family about a humorous conversation that he had with Iron Man, and he pauses. "Did you hear that? Something outside, in the backyard?" But none of the family respond to the question as he stands heading to that door. "I will return shortly. The humorous outcome of my conversation with Iron Man is indeed worth hearing, but it can be paused temporarily," he tells them as he phases through the wall. Outside, Vision stops, shocked at the sight of the dead body and the slightly charred remains of Zeke. The next morning, George rings the Vision's doorbell. Virginia answers with a smile, and George asks if they've seen his dog. "You wish to inspect the house? For a dog?" Virginia asks as she motions him inside. No, that's not necessary," George says, holding up his hands, but Virginia smiles and motions him again. "Come, George, come, inspect the house, for the dog," she says again. And as George moves through the house, he discovers that the inside is in shambles. Everything is cracked and destroyed. "I apologize for this. We are remodeling," Virginia tells him offhandedly as she leads him through the house. George does not notice Viv crying behind some of the destruction. And finally, the two stop in the kitchen. "I am sorry, George. I do not see the dog," Virginia tells him. He looks outside, noticing the large hole that has been dug in the backyard. "Are you putting in a pool or something?" George asks, and Virginia pauses in her answer, staring outside. "Yes, we are putting in a pool." Elsewhere, Vision stands over a table, blood on his apron, as he remembers the conversation that he had with Virginia. His initial reaction to everything that she had done was anger. She told him everything: the Reaper, the burial, the blackmail, the dead boy. "Your actions do seem necessary," he told her. Now he raises the bone saw and he gets to work. He reaches into Zeke's skull, removing the small dog's brain, and he puts the brain on the table and he begins to hook various devices into it. He had told Virginia that she should have told them earlier, that he had lied to the police for her, that this could all jeopardize the Avengers' trust in him. He stares at the blood on his hands for a moment before walking over and turning on the power to his machines. Later, he returns home, a box in his hands. Vision thought that he could create a family, a happy, a normal family. And as he walks up the front steps, Virginia phases through the door. "I have something for the children," Vision tells her as he places the box on the ground. He opens it up and a dog greets Virginia. The green pup barks at her. She smiles as she opens the door, calling to the children. "Viv! Vin! We have something for you!" she shouts. And as Vin comes downstairs, he smiles as the dog greets him by jumping up. They have to go find Viv, though, as she's huddled in a small ball. The dog walks over to her, barking and whining as she looks up with a smile. "What is your name?" she asks the small animal. Elsewhere, the ghostly image of Agatha Harkness stands before the gathering of heroes. She has finished telling her tale of Vision and his family. He will do anything, everything in his attempt to find happiness for his wife and children. He will kill you. He will kill your families. He will raise the world, she warns the heroes. And there you have it, issues 4, 5, and 6 of Vision. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and next Friday will be 7, 8, and 9 of this series. The story is only going to get darker and more twisted, and if you want to vote on what we're going to be covering after this, be it Winter Soldier, a Black Widow storyline, or even a Scarlet Witch storyline, come on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/Comicstorian, where we allow you guys to vote on what's going to be coming out next or very soon here on the channel. And right now, we're currently having debates over what's going to be done for Winter Soldier, Black Widow, and Scarlet Witch. That's patreon.com/Comicstorian. Outside of that, thank you so much for just watching this. Your continued support is incredible, and we really appreciate that. And I hope to see you guys next Friday for the next chapter of Vision.